sold to the billionaire Alpha. Chapter 2. Confused. He dragged me by my hair up the stairs and then threw me to the floor. It took a while for my eyes to adjust to the brightness. I was on a marble floor. Above me was an elaborately painted ceiling, as though I had been transported to the middle of the Italian Renaissance. The depictions were of richly attired men and women in various luxurious locations, often accompanied by colossal wolves. There were sculptures of wolves in the huge room. I was in a mansion. It was such a complete departure from the horror and meagre surroundings in the cellar that it left me bewildered. I almost forgot my assailant was behind me. He pulled me by my arm. I felt his hands strike me across my face. I screamed, yanking myself out of his grip. Now there was a bruise and a scrape on my cheek. There were a few drops of blood on my fingertips. The man raised his hand again, but I was ready to fight back this time and make a run for it.
Stop!
The man stopped. I found the source of the voice. A tall, broad-shouldered man stood at the foot of the staircase. He was well dressed, the smell of expensive cologne emanating from him. He regarded the grey-eyed man disdainfully with his baby blue eyes. He strode over to us, said,
"What do you think you're doing, Boris?"
Mr. Caro, I was just teaching this one a lesson. She blinded one of my eyes.
No one will notice. This one is a special order. She's not for the auction.
Mr. Cairo said smoothly, patting Boris on the shoulder. Boris looked dumbfounded and muttered something unintelligible. Mr. Caro's expression darkened. He approached me. I scrambled backwards instinctively until my back hit the wall and I had nowhere to go. Mr. Caro took my chin in his hand, tilting my face upwards. I avoided his eyes. He scrutinized my face.
How are we going to explain this bruise to our very important buyer? The Alpha will be furious.
Mr. Caro said softly. His tone was innocent enough, but something about him told me that he was the more dangerous of the two. Boris was silent. He looked a little worried. Mr. Caro sighed.
Get her cleaned up. Make her as pretty as possible for the Alpha. He's coming tonight to the auction. She's a private order. The most expensive piece of the night, and you've damaged her.
She damaged me.
I heard Boris retort. Mr. Caro snarled. I let out a breath I had not realized I had been holding. Mr. Caro's blue eyes looked much darker all of a sudden. Boris trembled and agreed. "Please, don't kill me," I said softly to Mr. Caro. Mr. Caro laughed.
Kill you? You're not worth anything dead. The Alpha wants you very much alive and unharmed. But we've already fucked that second part up, haven't we?
Alpha? Like a wolf? I did not know if to feel relieved. Mr. Caro's eyes widened.
Oh yeah, you're the human one.
He got to his feet and left abruptly. I was alone with my biggest fan, Boris, and I was more confused than ever. Boris left me there on the floor, exiting the room. I scrambled to my feet and ran to the large double doors by the winding staircase. They were locked. I banged on the glass windows, even throwing a wolf statue at one. Neither the glass nor the statue was even scratched. I remember Rose was in the cellar. Should I try to free her now, or escape and come back for her with the police? Before I could make a decision, Boris entered the room from the side door. He was flanked by two women. "Look at her face. He'll be furious," one of the women said. Both women were gorgeous. They were perhaps in their 40s. They reminded me of retired supermodels. They were both wearing red lipstick and sleek red cocktail dresses with wide-brimmed red hats. They had lacy black gloves on their hands and pointy-tipped black stilettos on their feet.
Boss said fix her up as much as possible. The Alpha is coming for her tonight.
That's not enough time for that bruise to heal. Maybe if she were a werewolf, but this one is human."
I know that, Sylvia. I'm human.
"Then you should have known better than to hit her." "Never mind, Boris. Salvia, perhaps we can delay the Alpha." "We can't delay the Alpha, Sylvia."
He'll be angrier if we make him wait, and she would take days to heal, Sylvia.
Sylvia frowned, forming a wrinkle in her perfect forehead. She sighed. Sylvia and Salvia approached me. "Come, come, child. Let's get you ready," cooed Sylvia, as if I were her daughter and she was dressing me up for my sweet 16. Sylvia reminded me a little of my mum with her mocha complexion. The blonde, blue-eyed Salvia resembled my father's sister. My parents were just as different from each other as these two. I suddenly wondered if I would ever see them again. I followed the women up the winding staircase rather than stay with Boris. I whispered to the two glamorous women as soon as we were out of the earshot of Boris. "You have to help me." "Help you, honey? We wish we were you." "Please, I don't have much time. He has other girls in the cellar." "You'll all get homes eventually. It's not permanent." "Would you let your sister be treated like this? Locked in a cage in the cellar, sold off to some man?" I pleaded with them with my eyes. They would be easier to escape from than Boris, but I felt I needed an ally to get out of this place. I needed some information at least to plan my escape. I wanted to befriend them and appeal to their emotions. They were women. They could understand being treated like an object. "Oh dear, let's talk in private," said Sylvia. She took my hand and led me through a wide and long hallway with an arched ceiling. Her sister scurried behind us, her heels clacking against the marble. They led me to what appeared to be a dressing room. There was a huge vanity with a mirror lined with lights. There were cosmetics all over the counter, all neatly organized. There were racks of women's clothing and a shelf of shoes. There was another shelf of perfumes. I recognized a lot of designer labels on various items. "It's 5 o'clock already, Sylvia. We need to hurry." "What day is it?" "Saturday, honey." I had been kidnapped Thursday night. I had been knocked out for almost 48 hours. I suddenly realized how dry my throat was. My stomach grumbled. "We can get refreshments and get ready," said Sylvia kindly, ringing a little bell. Another beautiful woman appeared. She looked younger than the sisters, possibly in her 20s. All of these women were so statuesque. I felt self-conscious, suddenly, being the shortest and the grimiest. I snapped out of it. Who cared? I was a prisoner. Beauty was the least of my worries. "May I have some water?" "Yes, Luna." "What? My name is Orchid. Please, you girls have to help me." "We are going to help you, Luna Orchid. Don't worry." The girl returned quickly with my water. I gulped it down, then I regretted drinking it immediately, but I did not feel strange. It must have been normal water. She had also brought a tray with 3 wine glasses, a bottle of white wine, and a plate of cheeses, crackers, cold meats, and macarons. Salvia encouraged me to have some wine, but I refused. Salvia drank my glass and hers. Sylvia sipped from her glass and pointing to a door. "The bathroom is through there. Go bathe and come back to us." I ran into the next room, shutting the door and locking it. There was a huge bathtub and a shower. I showered as quickly as I could. It was a beautiful bathroom in which to take a soak in the tub, but I could not even fathom relaxing even for a moment. I put on the robe after my shower and detangled my hair with the leave-in conditioner. Everything smelled incredible. I had never smelled such aromatic products. I looked at myself in the large golden oval mirror above the sink. The bruise covered one of my cheeks. I had some minor scratches on my hands, and my palms and knees hurt from the fall on the way down the hill. That seemed like a lifetime ago. I burst into tears, unable to hold it in any longer. A knock at the door startled me. When I did not open it, a key must have been used, for the door clicked and then opened to reveal Sylvia and Salvia, their faces worried. "Don't cry, please. It'll make your eyes puffy. Alpha will be so furious already because of the bruise," said Sylvia, breathing as if they were all deeply afraid of this Alpha. I sniffled, starting to feel afraid of him too. My kidnappers feared him. He must be an incredibly brutal man, and yet I did not get my hopes up that he would be decent. He was buying a girl, me. He had spent his money's worth and wanted undamaged goods. They wrapped a towel over me, though I was already in a robe, probably thinking I was cold. They gave me underwear to put on, and when I stared at them while standing there motionlessly, they exchanged glances and then turned their backs on me. Now would be a good time to knock one of them out, but they were being decent to me. If I angered them too, I would be in an even bigger mess. I put on the underwear. They offered me a dress. It was a dusty pink colour with a sweetheart neckline and billowy sleeves that tapered at the wrists. It was floor length, but it had a high slit. It was fitted at the top and the waist before it flared out around me. After they curled my hair, plucked my eyebrows, shaved my legs and put makeup on me. I felt I did look much better. I actually found myself pretty, forgetting momentarily that I was an item to be purchased by some crime boss calling himself Alpha. "It's 7 o'clock, squealed Sylvia. I cried, my panic rising again. "Please, you have to help me." "Trust me, down this. You need it." Salvia handed me a full wine glass. I downed it. I was not sure why. Maybe I was giving up. They hurried off to get themselves ready, leaving me alone. I tossed off the heels they had given me and ran to the door. I ran down the hallway and descended the stairs so quickly I almost tumbled downwards. I tried the door that led to the cellar. All the cages were empty. All the girls were gone. They were probably being auctioned. I held back a sob. I apologized to Rose silently as I ran to the double doors by the staircase. They were unlocked. I threw them open triumphantly, only to reveal a furious Mr. Caro.